Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to your own Silicon Valley Tech Talks show, your go to place to learn about technology trends and innovations directly from the leaders. This is your host, Faisal Vatuk from San Jose, California. In today's show, we will learn about venture capitalist perspective on AI landscape and opportunities. We're fortunate to have Pankaj Kedia as our guest today. Pankaj is founder and managing partner of 2468 Ventures. Pankaj is an early stage investor and has been working with several startups in the AI space. So, without any further delay, let's go and talk to Pankaj and learn from his insights. Hello, Pankaj. Welcome to our show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to this exciting discussion again, Faisal.
Cool, cool. Great to have you back on our show. So, Pankaj, 2 years ago on this show, you had predicted that AI revolution is going to be bigger than internet, smartphone, and cloud revolutions combined. What are your views today after 2 years based on how the AI trajectory is going?
Yeah, I remember that discussion, Faisal. And we were right? Um, AI is bigger than everything we have seen before, but maybe we were not right enough. I think 2 years into it, AI is bigger than what we imagined. If we look back and think about what has happened over the last 2 years in the data center space, now we are adding more than 100 gigawatts. Each gigawatt is 50 to 60 billion dollars. So we as an industry are investing 6 to 7 trillion dollars through the end of the decade. I knew AI would be big. None of us knew AI would be this big. Um, if we look at the transformation we are seeing in different industry sectors, again, we knew AI would touch every sector. What we did not know is the depth and the breadth of the transformation. And just over the last year, we have seen agentic AI and physical AI come into the forefront. We were not talking about agentic AI over a year ago or physical AI over a year ago. And now the combination of agents and robots, we are literally disrupting every sector, healthcare, manufacturing, education, even things that we did not imagine, like mining, construction. Every part of the economy is getting disrupted. And my estimate is over the next 10 or 15 years, this will create 100 to 200 trillion dollars of value um, because of AI. And maybe the last thing I would say is, we assume Silicon Valley is the capital of the world. We assume US is the capital of the world. But uh, AI is truly global. AI is happening in 100 countries around the world. And the action is not just in the US. I traveled to Saudi Arabia. Data centers are being deployed. I traveled to India. I traveled to Mexico. I traveled to Singapore. This is truly a global phenomenon. So all of us knew, I knew AI would be bigger than internet, mobile, cloud when ChatGPT came out. But I think it is turning out to be much bigger, much bolder, much better for for the industry, for the society, for all of us. So it's very exciting.
Thank you, Pankaj. Conversely, a lot of people argue that we are in fact in AI bubble. There are outrageous valuations of AI companies which do not seem real. And people compare it with the dot com bubble we had in late 1990s. So, what are your views on this, and to what extent you agree with this?
We are not in a bubble, period. Last year I was getting calls from different reporters, journalists, predicting a recession. And People have been talking about a recession for the last 2 or 3 years. Everybody is still waiting, right? This year, especially as you mentioned, over the last 3 or 6 months, the talk about a bubble is everywhere. We look back and we'll say, "Oh, um, why did we predict we are going to be in a bubble?" I don't see one. Let me add a couple specifics. If I look at the investments going into data center, we expect $6 to $7 trillion worth of investment through 2030. So far, we have seen commitments for about 2.7 trillion. We have seen many data center projects getting kicked off just this year. What is paying for these investments? It is the cash flow from the big hyperscalers. It is the revenue from the hyperscalers and from many of the startups. I've been an early stage investor for some time. It's very different right now, Fessa. Somebody like Cursor goes from 0 to 100 million in less than a year, goes from 100 million to 500 million in less than 6 months. OpenAI last year did about 4 billion. This year they're talking about 20 billion and getting to 100 billion in 27. We have not seen this kind of demand, this kind of revenue growth ever. And it is profitable growth. Many of these companies are making investments from their earnings, from the cash flow they are generating. If you look at the PE ratio of the top 7, max 7, it's 30 plus minus, right? It varies across different companies. But NVIDIA's PE today is lower than its PE over the last 5 years. So just because a stock has gone up does not mean it's in a bubble. The question is, why is it so? With internet, we deployed infrastructure, but the demand did not show up. So there was a lot of unused fiber. Right now, the demand is there. We are not able to deploy AI fast enough, right? It's very different. Why is the demand so much bigger? When we think about the internet was basically automating what existed, changing how we think about software. In some cases, going from paper to online. And in that sense, internet TAM was 8 to 10% of the global economy. That's how big the software market was. When we think about AI is transforming the software piece, but it is not just doing that. It is also targeting the labor portion of the global economy. And while software is 8 to 10% of the global economy, labor is 50% of the global economy. And so the TAM is much, much bigger. I've done the math, I've done the numbers. My prediction is through 2040, we will create 100 to 200 trillion dollar worth of value because of AI, disrupting software, because of AI transforming how we live, how we work, how we play. So, no, we are not in a bubble. Of course, not every company will be successful. Of course, some companies, the valuation is out of line. Of course, not everybody will execute like we want them to execute. Of course, there will be some misallocation of capital. Of course, the economy goes up and down. But that's the nature of the game. That's the nature of how industry works. I would actually say, while in the short term, we might be overestimating the impact of AI, in the long run, we are underestimating the benefits of AI. Uh, in that sense, AI is underhyped for the long run. And that's what keeps me going.
As a VC, what do you think are the most exciting opportunities for investment in the AI space? Are there any industry segments which are more attractive than the others, and why?
Yeah. Um, as a early stage VC, I'm having the best time of my life. There is so much opportunity. Um, I spend most of my time picking apart the opportunities and seeing which deal I should pursue, which founder I should support. Um, and by the way, um, about 2/3 of the venture money is going into AI companies, right? So um, that's where the action is. In terms of specific opportunities, if I look at the infrastructure, what I call cloud AI, lot of data center deployments, lot of action around GPUs and TPUs and so on. There is a genuine concern that energy and cooling might limit growth. So while there is a lot of investment going in, anybody who can tackle the energy problem, come up with an innovative cooling solution, I'm in. I think that can be a game changer. When you go up the stack, when you think about edge AI, um, so much action around robotics and humanoids. So much excitement around Waymo expanding into different cities, around Tesla and what these guys are doing. The segment I'm most excited about from a investor perspective is a device that is designed from the ground up for agents, for agentic AI. So if we take a step back, the PC made the browser, the web as we know it, ubiquitous. Our smartphones ushered in the app economy. Now, as we are thinking about agents and agentic AI, the smartphone is probably not the right device for agentic AI. It is probably some kind of wearable. It is probably something that is on me 24/7. It becomes my personal assistant. Um, it doesn't just give me information. It acts on my requests. It does so autonomously. It does so um, based on the context I'm in, right? So I'm actively looking for the right AI device, the right AI wearable designed for agentic AI. And there are some initiatives underway, including what Sam Altman and Johnny Ive are doing at OpenAI. So cloud AI around cooling, edge AI around AI wearable, and then there is applied AI. Applied AI is how all of this investment will get monetized. Um, applied AI is using AI to reduce cost in the short term, but bring in value in the long run. Applied AI is targeting the bottom line in the short term, targeting the top line in the long run. And, pretty much every sector, um, whether it is healthcare or construction, whether it is mining or manufacturing, whether it is sales or marketing, is getting disrupted, will get disrupted. And what you need is a domain specific model. What you need is a domain specific data set. What you need is the right founder who doesn't give up, right? Um, and what I'm seeing is crazy founders, crazy startups are going after every one of these industries. And some of these industries have not changed for multiple decades, right? The impact of technology in healthcare, in education, in construction, in mining has been negligent. These segments will get disrupted. And I'm looking at every one of these sectors and figuring out, which startup to bet on, which founder to support. So I'm investing up and down the stack in cloud, in edge, in applications. And, this is the time we will look back 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And this is the time the next $1 trillion company, the next 5 trillion, 10 trillion, $25 trillion company is getting created. So I I'm very thankful for what is happening, and I'm so glad I'm in the middle of it. I'm like I say, all in AI, Faisal.
Very exciting, Pankaj. So, Pankaj, let's talk about some near-term forecasts for AI. What are your specific predictions for 2026?
Um, so you want me to look at my crystal ball? I'll give you a few. Um,
Yeah, well, your crystal ball was right last time. That's why I want to ask you again.
yeah, no, it has not even been 3 years since ChatGPT came out, right? End of November 22. So 23 was the year of ChatGPT. ChatGPT took everything, all of us by storm. I would say 24, it was the year of chatbots. Um, not just OpenAI, but Google and Meta and so many chatbots came into existence. And it was not just about text. It was about text. It was about video. It was about images. It was about um, software programming. It was about animations. We truly went from text to multimodal. This year has to be the year of agents. The term agentic AI did not exist 18 months ago. This year, more than two-thirds of the startups in VC have been agentic AI companies. So my prediction for 26 is we'll look back this time next year and we'll say 26 was the year of applications. It was the year of applied AI. We are seeing early signs, maybe software programming, what Replit and Lovable and Cursor and Windsurf, they got bought out by Cognition. What they have done, the adoption they have seen, the revenue growth they have seen, I think we'll see that story repeat in segment after segment after segment. So I call 26 the year of applications. Number two, as we touched earlier, there has been so much focus this year on data centers, on investing in new data centers, so we can support all of this potential of AI. I think next year, of course, that momentum will continue. But I think next year, the action will shift from just cloud AI to edge AI. And when we think about edge AI, we think about AI PC, AI smartphone. But more importantly, we'll think about physical AI. We'll think about robots and humanoids transforming agriculture, transforming construction, transforming mining, transforming manufacturing. So I think deployment of robots and humanoids will become mainstream. They will go mainstream. And of course, we have seen Waymo and self-driving Teslas and robo-taxis get a lot of press interest this year, but we still have only a few thousand cars on the road. I think next year we'll go from a few thousand to tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands and maybe a million. And that is as AI as it gets. So year of applications moving from cloud to edge AI. I'll give you a couple of fun predictions. This year agents came into existence, and generally speaking, every company, every enterprise has a couple of agents in sales, a couple of agents in marketing, a few in customer support, etc., etc. But I think the real impact will be when the entire enterprise is running on agents. I call this the agentic enterprise. And so you have agents working with agents, super agents. And I think we'll see one or two examples of zero people autonomously operating agentic enterprises. And by the way, that is very significant because when I go from just working myself to working with a few agents, my productivity goes up maybe 2x. When I go to a full agentic enterprise, then the productivity goes up 10 times, 20 times. And so there is a real economic value in that trend. And I think we'll see the first examples of that. On the consumer side, we have seen amazing innovation with video, right? If you look at Sora, if you look at what Google has done, it is truly stunning. We have seen Hollywood and Bollywood um, um, increasingly adopt AI to as a co-pilot in different scenes and so on. I think what would be really fun is a full feature-length movie, a full podcast, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, created by AI and gets all of us excited. I think maybe we'll see the first one of those. Maybe the last one is I have to come home, right? As somebody so passionate about AI and wearable, I think we'll see the first examples of AI wearable. We touched on it earlier. A wearable device designed from the ground up for the agentic experience. And we know OpenAI is working on one. I have seen very intriguing, very interesting examples of some of the other companies, some startups, some big companies. And I think we'll see the first examples of that. So Faisal, generally in the technology cycle, we go up and we go down. I think with AI, we are barely getting started. 25 has been very exciting. I think 26 will be even more exciting. I think all this talk of bubble will go away. People will realize that just like the pundits have been predicting recession, and of the last 5 recessions, the pundits predicted, only one happened because of COVID, and that was a V-shaped, right? I think we'll realize that AI is truly transformative. It's a once in a lifetime, once in a century phenomena. And this talk of bubble and overinvestment should be there no more. So let's meet again in a year and look back and see which one of these predictions come true. But I speak from my heart and my brain. In many cases, I've done the numbers. And, I feel the energy. I feel the excitement. I feel the passion of researchers and founders and startups and big companies, not just in the US, but many parts of the world. And this is the best time. This has to be the best time to be alive.
Thank you, Pankaj. We'll definitely connect again in a year and see how things are going. But thank you so much for joining our show. I'm sure audience learned a lot from your insights.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, everyone. Please reach out if you want to connect. Bye.